Hi guys, so today we'll continue Tkinter and we'll learn radio buttons. Before starting it, let me just tell you about the environment I'm using today. I'm not using my usual environment, that is Sublime Text. I have actually used two environments and only showed one in my videos. I used Atom and I used Sublime Text. So today onwards I'm starting to use VS Code. Okay, VS Code is new for me. I've heard about it a lot. The people say that there are a lot of functionality when you do VS Code with Python, right? So today onwards we'll start with VS Code. Okay, so let's get started. So today we'll learn radio buttons. I hope you know what radio buttons are. If you're of course studying computer science, or if you are not even studying computer science, everyone knows radio button are. If there are two or three radio buttons, you can only choose one. It's type of MCQ. Okay, let me show you. Just let us, you'll see what radio button is in the future minutes. Okay, so first we'll of course do the usual method, import. If it is not visible, let me just, yeah, let me just close the terminal. Yeah, so from Tkinter, import the usual, and our screen is equals to TK or T capital. Okay, TK, and at last we have screen dot main loop, which gives our, what do you say, Tkinter window, right? This is our window. Okay, so Tkinter window, right? So if you want to define the geometry, is your wish. Geometry, let us define geometry. Geometry is would be, let us take 100 by 100. That's, I don't want a big screen. Okay, oh, 100 and 100 is actually very small. 200, 200, 200. Yes, let's run it again, and yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, okay, let us run. Okay, let us start the coding of radio button. The syntax is very simple and usual. It has some similarities with the label syntax. Okay, so radio, you get your radio button. Be small. Here the button is, the B of the button is small, it is not capitalized, right? And inside the parentheses, of course, you'll get your screen, comma, text, whatever you want as an option, right? For example, you have a radio button here. Let me just, uh, let me just help you out, right? These are the radio button. These are the circle type of things, right? Circle, right? These are radio buttons. And here you have some option, here you have some option, here you have some options, here you have some options. The radio button are in circular form. Okay, so you can only click one, right, to get the value or to show your choices. Okay, so that's radio button. So of course there is required a text. You will require a text to show the value or to show the meaning of your choice. Okay, so text, let us say radio button 1, radio p1, right? We'll create 2 3 buttons. Okay, so radio button 1, and what do we have? We have variable. Okay, we'll store the value of this button in a variable, right? So we'll create a variable r, right? We'll create a variable r, don't worry, we'll initialize it, r, and comma value. Value means if you click this one, what do you want to assign it for, right? What do you want to assign it for example, if I click this one, if I click this radio button, then what would be the value of r, right? We are taking a variable r represents the value of radio button. So what is that value? Specific number or a specific string that represents this button, right? So I'll take a string that is 1. Okay, you can take a variable, anything you want. Okay, so this is your for radio button. Screen text is equals to radio button v1, variable is equals to r, value is equals to 1, and I think that's it. I don't think we require much. Okay, so of course we need to initialize r, right? Because we are assigning r before calling it. So that's not working, because if I run this, it will give me an error because r is not defined. We are using r without defining it, right? For example, we cannot use screen without defining that screen is equals to tk. Okay, so variable r, so we'll define r is equals to, when you use let me just tell you, when you use Python usually, right, you initialize anything with r is equals to 0 if you are using a string, if you are using an integer, and r is equals to space if you are using a string, r is equals to this when you're using a list, r is equals to this when you're using a dictionary, r is equals to this when you're using a list, r is equals to this when you're using a tuple. Okay, so for this R button or for variables inside your Tkinter, you don't use integer or string. What you use is int var and this, right? If you want to use string, or if you want to assign the value or type of the value of R to be string, then str or str. Okay, so I'm gonna take int because I'm using int, right? So int, and now I think it would run. Yep, you get your radio button, right? If I click this, yeah, nothing is happening. Let us create one more. I'm sorry, let me create one more. Okay, control C, control V, right? So radio button 2, value 2. Yep, you get 2 radio buttons. You can either choose this or this, right? So we have to change the value. You probably have guessed it that we have to change value because we have to choose the unique option, right? But you might be thinking, why aren't we changing the value of the variable, right? Because we don't require it. You can change the variable, you can r1, r2, r3, it's your wish, but it's not required because you are storing the choices in one variable. Let me explain you thoroughly. Let me explain you with some example, or let me just explain you what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that you don't require any more variable. Why is that so? Because the only option would be one, right? This is not multiple option. You cannot choose multiple option. You can only choose one option in the radio button, right? This is not choose multiple option MCQs. Okay, that's checkbox. This is not checkbox. This is radio button. You can only choose one. That's why we require only one variable. Okay, I think that's clear. I'm sorry, habitual of sublime text. Yeah, this is your radio button, but the radio button aren't doing anything, right? So what we can do is, of course, this is similar to the buttons. You can add command. Command is equals to whatever you want. You can do screen dot destroy. Okay, if it's not visible, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, screen dot destroy. Screen dot destroy. Let us see if it works or not. If I choose this one, yep, screen dot destroy. Right, so it is similar to what you, when you create a button, you can create your own function which would have this command or anything else. If you want the variable of r, what you can do is here r dot get, right? You can print this. I'm sorry, print r dot get. Okay, control S. If I print this, and you get 1, right? I hope it's visible. You get this 1. Oh, it's not visible now. Okay, yep, let me run it again. If I choose this one and cross this, you get 2, right? I hope it's visible. Okay, let's run back to our thing. Okay, for example, what if we had to create lots of buttons? We are not going to write it again and again and again, right? Because the only thing we are changing in every radio button is the text and value, right? So I don't think we require this much. What we'll do, we'll create a list, or okay, we'll create a list, data underscore list. Let it be a list. Okay, it would have a list with nested tuple. Okay, comma, let me create 4 buttons. Okay, and this, just follow what I'm doing and then I'll explain you. Okay, so sorry. Yep. Okay. Yep, not an issue. Let it be, what do I say, button one in a string format. Yep, value 1 and button 2 string button 2 and 2 I'm sorry, uh, button 3 and 3, button 4 and 4. Okay, so what I'm planning to do is very simple here. We'll create a loop, of course. We'll create a for loop. Okay, for I in data list, right? For I in data list. Oh, I'm sorry, I accidentally ran the program. Okay, for I in data list, what we are gonna do is we are gonna create multiple radio button, right? What a loop does, it creates the multiple of what is inside the loop. Okay, it multiplies its content. So radio button, of course, it's gonna be in the screen comma text is equals to, what do I say, data list or I 0. Okay, I think you are now getting the idea what I'm doing here. Okay, value is equals to, or text, let me variable first, that's good. I don't think you can use text variable here. Okay, for label you use text variable, for this you'll use variable only. Okay, if you use text variable then it's not going to run properly, right? But you can try it always. You can try new methods. You can try, of course, you can manipulate the code. You can manipulate Python on your wish, on your command, right? So variable is of course our R, comma variable is R, then we would have value. Yep, value would be equal to our I1 and dot pack or grid, whatever you want. You cannot use place here. Okay, because if you use place here then your radio buttons are gonna overlap each other. Okay, because it's gonna be a constant position. If you use pack, then it's gonna increase or decrease on the basis of the x-axis and y-axis. Okay, so let me explain you what I've done. I've created a multiple radio button. That's pretty easy to guess because I'm including it in the content of a loop. Okay, so what I've done is, of course, I've created a loop, a list which has nested tuple. So it's basically a nested array. Inside the tuple, I have this, a string. This would be the value, or this would be the text of my radio button. Okay, what my radio button represents, and one would be the value of that radio button. If I click that radio button, particular radio button, then what's the value? Okay, how do I differ between the radio button? So this is the value, this is the value for the second button, this is the text for the second button, this is the value for the second button, and similarly these two. Okay, so what I've done is for I in data list. So what does I represents? I represents every element in the list data list. Okay, every element means this is one element. Okay, let me just, yep, this is one element, this is second element, and this is third element. Okay, so yeah, similarly for I in list is, I is actually a tuple which is an element of data list. So what I've done is, inside the radio button, of course, my screen text is equals to I0. Okay, it says, you see, it says I is a tuple, 0 is int. So that's why I love to use VS Code, because there are lots of functionality. If you just click it here, no, not here, if you click it here, yes, just wait a second, it says tuple, it's not showing it right now, but if you click into a bracket, if I write radio button, of course I'll get a radio button here, radio button, and here you see these are the functionalities, these are the functionalities. Okay, it tells you a lot about that button, radio button widget, which shows only one of the several buttons in one state, right? It also defines what a radio button is and everything. Okay, so it explores the module, you can say that. Okay, so for I in data list, radio button, screen text is I0, I is your tuple, and 0 is the first index. First index is the text, this is the first index, right? 0th is the first element of an array which includes list or tuple. Okay, so variable is r, that remains constant. Value is I index 1. I index 1 is this index. Okay, so this is how I manipulated radio button. If I run it, okay, so indentation issue. I'm sorry, there was some problem with my path. The Python path and the VS Code path, they were not coinciding with each other, but now it's fixed. Of course, I'll take some time to learn VS Code. So let us run this. Yep. So you see, these are your buttons. These are your buttons. You can choose any one of them. Right, any one of them. If I choose 4, the value of the button would be 4. If I choose 1, the value of the button would be 1. If I choose 4 and cross it, so you get 4. Right, you get your 4. Okay, what you can do is with the radio button, you can create new windows. Okay, you can create new windows here only, right? Like if r dot get, right, is equal to let me say 2, then oh, I'm sorry, I yep, not equal to 2, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new screen. Let me be screen 1 is equals to tk, right, and of course I'll run it. Screen 1, sorry, screen 1 dot main loop. Okay, and inside it I'm gonna do label, not lambda, label, and of course this would be in screen 1 comma text is equals to text equals to you chose 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 you chose whatever the value represents. You chose str of r dot get. Okay, str of r dot get dot back. How about that? Right. And what we can do is we can also add comma font is equals to 413. Right. Let us run and what we have see what we have done, and there is an unexpected error. Okay, again the same error again. Sorry. Let me just check it out. Okay, there shouldn't be any error. Okay. Yes. So if I press button 2 and close it, you choose 2. Right? So that's how you can manipulate your code, right? And it's up to you what you do with the radio buttons and what projects you create, how you open your imagination, right? So that's it, I think. Thank you for watching.